Good morning. I am here with my little Swan Lake and my partially finished Swan, and I wanted to do just some cleanup today and also some brand new things. So I'm going to I had the cleanup started here, and I'll show you that in a minute. A lot of attendees already know how I do that, but what I'm going to do today is and I'm going to bring out some hot clay, something new, a little bit of a surprise, but if you've been watching, you know it's not a total surprise. Good morning, Mark. Let me switch to the other view. And so I have a video up. Let's turn it a little bit like that so you can just see the video for a minute. I'll get my bright light out of your way there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just show you what I planned this morning. And here's a swan, a mute swan, and her little, I know you can't see it very well here, but I'll put a link after the show. Frank and Jackie, good morning too. I'm going to put a link after this little live stream and to this video because it shows us several things that we didn't have before. And it shows us the thickness, and I've been carving it down, but it's still not quite right. This area inside the swan here, and I haven't thinned out the wings until I get this right. So this has some really great views of the back of the swan and how much volume is viewable from the back with the wings up a little bit. But more importantly, oh, there it goes. They're just magnificent birds. Even though they do go after people on golf courses, right? Mark's video cracked me up. But okay, so now here's this mama swan. What great views of the head too, because we still have to do the head. And but here's what we want to do today. We're going to add a few little, I think they're called signets. So as I learn about swans, let me stop it right here. This video, I'm going to just pause it. And these little guys, I mean, they look like ducklings, don't they? They just look like little ducklings. All right, so I know you won't be able to see this as easily while I'm trying to make this, but let's switch to the other view. Let's see, okay. And I'm going to put my mama swan aside, because now you know what I'm doing when I said that and I gave it away, right? Put my Swan Lake up here. It almost looks like ice with the plastic on the mirror right now. It looks like cracked ice. And I got some hot clay out, and I'm going to just fashion a few. In fact, I need the lady swan here, and probably need to go to the view, which you can't see right now, but you'll be able to see later, the view on my computer where I can see the relationship between the swan mama and the baby. I'm going to switch to that real quickly so you can see that size relationship, because I guess you have figured out that I am about to do, okay, this is perfect. Here, let me switch to the other view real fast. Let's see. Okay, so in this video, you can see how tiny those little babies are compared to the parents. Let's move it forward a little bit. Here they come. They are so cute, but they look like white ducklings, right? And here they all come. And I want to get a really good shot of the relationship between the cygnet, the duckling, whatever. It's not a duckling, it's a cygnet. And look at that huge foot on that bird. Oh my gosh. It could just like step on the chicks. And here they come marching. I've got this set to slow so that I don't miss anything. Oops, now I'm going to lose that relationship. Let me bring that to where I can see. I need to see the size right up. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And now, of course, the little, they're going to be on this little lake, so they'll be down in the water. And we'll go back to look at pictures of that. But this gives me a size relationship. Ouch, my clay is hot. And I'm just going to make them very rough to start. There's no measuring here going on really. It's just by eye at this point. But I'm going to, and this goes back to almost like the original videos on our, and I'll switch to the view where you can see what I'm doing on our channel that we made, where you just create, let's see, I want a little bigger than that because I'm going to pull out the heads. You create geometric forms, and then you just start to form them into what you want. So I'm going to create the basic geometric forms. I'm going to push it down because they're going to be on the water. I need to add a little more to that head. And do these very roughly right now, just very roughly, because what we want to do is create a number of them. A little bit more of a neck on that little birdie. They are just so cute. Oh my goodness. So to do a number of these, and I just very carefully make them in place. They're cute little tails. They look like little baby decoys. So we'll create a number of these. Just making and what you could do if you want to really kind of start is you can make a number of the same size balls like that, because you're going to make a couple of them. I guess I could make maybe 3 to 5. I don't know. We'll see how it looks on the design, because ultimately I want to put them, Swan Lake here. Let's go ahead and do that so you can see where I'm heading with this. Here we go. Here we go. A little bit like that. So I did mention I would put a few babies in there, but I don't know if I said it so fast or if anybody remembers that. Let's get this one. And see, I'm doing the pinching out. So I create the basic shape, and then I pinch out from there. And, oops, let's get that. It's hard for you to see what I'm doing because it's so little. And I should try to, that looks really bad. But, here's how you start. It's okay if it looks really bad. You get the basic shape, and you're just trying to pinch out the parts. You can pinch off if it's too much. And that's how you get started. You just create, all right, let's see if I can show you. You just create a basic shape, basic little head, and I'll turn him a little bit. It's not going to look perfect. And you know what? You're saved from the having to do, Frank and Jackie, thanks, you do remember. So you're going, when is she going to make the babies? All right. So now that one's a little bit bigger than the other one, but it's not too bad. I can match them up later. And now that the clay is soft, it's nice to work with. It's great to work with. Again, another little, and I'll refine these further, but this is the way you get started. You just pinch it out, pull it up, kind of make it as even as you can. And, there's a little bit of a practice involved in being able to maneuver the clay. For example, you can see what you want, but maybe it's a little bit awkward at first to try to use your fingers. And so it's like, again, because I play guitar, I constantly create an analogy to learning to play a musical instrument. There's a motor skill, there's a memory from practice that you get. And that's why I don't want anybody to despair if you feel like, this is so hard, I can never do that. This is about talent. You know what? Maybe 10% a sense of talent that, you love doing something like this. I don't know what that means, but 90% is practice. Oh, thank you. About building a nice composition. Yes, that's a huge aspect of sculpture too. A nice composition, something that's balanced, and there's different kinds of compositions. There's formal, informal, but the thing is, what you're going to learn is it's almost like arranging flowers on a table. I mean, it's that simple. What looks nice? What looks unbalanced? What looks like it's going to fall off the edge? The sense of weights of objects balancing is what you're really trying to achieve here. So, you can do this so many different ways. This is an almost modular type of sculpture too, in that someone could actually imagine sculptures that have different components like this, and you arrange, parts are baked in, but you can arrange a lot of it the way you want. Oh, and I've got a new question today. Okay, I'm so glad your question came up about how I'm heating the clay, and let me go on to my big view for a minute so I can really explain it. That's great. This is what I wait for, is these questions. So we're using clayette. I use the hard version so that I can get this extreme detail I want out of my final piece. But what I'm using, I'm going to take it all apart today. I just have a baking dish in here. I've got to change my aluminum foil. You can see it's my hot clay is in there. And let me turn it off because I'm not going to need it in a few minutes. My baking dish isn't even hot. See, I can even hold that. It's warm underneath, but what I'm using is a plate warmer. And I'm going to finally show what I'm using. I got this on Amazon, and it just has different controls. It's for warming up food. And, you just you have settings. Can you see that? And you can, I can get it started fast on high and then switch it to low, and it shuts off automatically in about 2 hours. So it's a really nice way to keep it right by your side, and I have a cookie tray under it so it doesn't hurt my little wood surface. And would you make a lot? Oh, there's a great question from Frank and Jackie. You know what? You could make one mold of this, and then in plaster, you could actually cut the heads and then change their positions. So you could make one mold, cast it in plaster, and then make different models by recasting that and then popping these out and maybe just cutting the heads and reattaching them in different positions. Your final molds, depending on what you have, on the plaster models, you may need to do a separate mold on each different position, but you can go a long way by creating one perfectly articulated model and then popping them out of a rubber mold, casting them in plaster, refining that, and changing each one a little bit. So there's a lot of ways to really save on your work, because it does take a lot of time. That's why I always worry about getting boring. It takes a lot of time in the refining stage. It's one thing to whack out individual the beginning of pieces like I just did, but definitely there's techniques for saving time as you go forward. And the one thing I haven't done yet, and we're almost ready to stop, but I refreshed my Terpenoid Natural, and let me show for anyone new here. This is non-toxic and non-flammable. And this is what I use to smooth out my clay. And so what I was also going to do this morning, after doing a few baby swans, cygnets, I was just going to show you how I do this. I have a paper towel, and I push my brush. This is called the ferrule of the brush. I push that against the side of my little jar, and I see the clay kind of come out. It's hard for you to see it here, but the clay comes out. Then I clean off my brush, and then I go over the areas with all those crumbs, and it just smooths them in, yet it retains the texture I want really nicely. So it's just a great way to finish a piece. And I'll go all over this. I'll take all this off and go over every little bit to make it really refined and smooth. Oh, let me just turn off my timer for a minute. Will the heating pad make the clay turn to? No, it won't. That's what's great. Now, if you want to set your clay to liquid I have underneath where you can't see, I have a crock pot. And you can put it on high and the clay will liquefy. But the one other great thing to tell you before I go is you can liquefy this and pour it into rubber molds. So you could actually, okay, say I make a rubber mold on one refined little baby swan, then I can I have that rubber mold. I can actually melt and pour this clay into those rubber molds and have more clay models that I can change even further. There's a lot of flexibility in this method, and that's why we use this method in the gift industry, because you have to have that flexibility. You go in with your assignment, which was in the old days, which what we did, and they go, oh, no, we don't like this, change it. Change it completely. So we learned to use this method to create any kind of sculpture on a deadline that we had to do. So I'll say goodbye for today. Thank you, Frank and Jackie, and I hope anyone new here comes back. It's wonderful to have your questions, and I love that's what I hope to be able to do with the live streams. And then what I'm going to do is when I'm after July, because of my schedule, I'm going to be doing set videos with the footage I get from the live streams. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.